Hello and welcome. Today we are going to solve our eighth problem of Leetcode, that is a string to integer atoi. Okay, so in this problem we have to implement myatoi function which converts a string to its 32-bit signed integer. It is similar to C and C++ atoi function. Okay, so let's see what we have to do in whiteboard. So we have been given some input, and for those input we have to return some output. So let's say we have given an input as a string 3142. So for this string we have to return corresponding integer value, which is going to be 3142. Okay, so we can also have a string like 0042. So if you will convert this string into integer, it is going to be something like 0042, and we have to return 42. Okay, 42. And we can have leading white spaces in between these string. So let's say we have two white spaces in beginning, so we have to ignore these white spaces and we have to return only 1 2 3 in this case. So in some cases we can have negative numbers also, so for that we have to return negative, corresponding negative number, like minus 1 2 3. For minus 1 2 3 we return minus 1 2 3. And there can be a case where we have leading white spaces and a negative number also. For that we have to ignore the white spaces that, and then we have to return the number as we have returned in previous input. Okay, so for some input we can have some string appended with our integer value like 4093 with some words. So we have to ignore the remaining string and we have to only return the corresponding integer value. Okay, so we have seen six example and we have figured out what we have to do. Let's see how we can do that. So for this problem, the algorithm is already given here, so we have to just implement it. So we can see that at first step we have to only read the input and read in and ignore the leading white spaces. Okay, so for that we will do, first we will calculate what is the length of the string. So it can be calculate s dot length, and we will start a index with 0, and we will run a while loop which will be counting whether current index is white space or not. Sorry, in this case we will only increase our current index. Okay, and then we are done with first step. Then we'll check if the next character is, if not already in the end of the string, minus or plus. So let's say we have checked whether there is any white space or not. So we have ignored that part. Now we have to check whether our next character is positive or negative. So for that we will check if our current value, if I is equal to n, then in this case we have traversed all the element and we have reached till the end of this string. So in this case we will return 0. Then we will, as we did in last video, we will create a sign equal to 1 at starting and a long value for result, which is going to be 0 at beginning. Okay, now we will check if si equals to either plus, or si is going to be equal to either minus. In this case what we will do, we will assign our sign equal to, if si is minus, then in this case we will assign -1, otherwise we will assign 1. Okay, so by doing this we have checked our sign value, and at last we will return our result multiplied by sign. Okay, so we have done with this. Now we have to calculate our result. So we will run the while loop for that, and this is going to be till our current index is lesser than n, and the current index is digit. Okay, and then we will count the current value. How we can do that? We can do that by s dot caret. If we are doing si minus 0. Okay, so by doing this we will be able to get the current value. Let's say it will be something like 2, but it will be in character form. So to convert this in integer form we will simply we will simply subtract 0 in character form. Be it will going to give us result in 2, which will be in integer form. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. So after that we will calculate our result. We can simply calculate it using result equal to result into 10 plus current value. Okay. And so we have done till with the next character until the next non-digit character or the end of the input is reached. So we have done till 3, and then we have converted our value into integer. Now the fifth case, let's look at it. If the integer out of the 32-bit range, integer range, that is maximum and minimum value, then we have to claim the integer so that it remains in the range. So if in between, if our integer is getting exceeded with the maximum and minimum value of integer, in this case what we have to do, we have to return integer dot mean value or integer dot max value. So if we are exceeding in negative integer, like say our current value is lesser than the minimum possible integer value, so we have to return minimum integer value. And if our current integer is greater than maximum possible integer value, so we have to return maximum possible integer value. So we'll check here if result is greater than int max or result is lesser than int min. So in this case we will be returning, so if in this case we will be returning if sign is, so as we have already checked our sign at beginning, we don't have to check the minimum for minimum case, so we don't have to add this case here. So if the sign is -1, we will be returning integer dot mean value, other value will be returning integer dot max value. Okay, and we will be closing a for loop, and we can increase our I value during, like we are getting our value here, so we will simply I will do I plus plus, we will get increase our I value. Simply for increasing our I value for at this time we will be doing I plus plus here. Okay, now at last we have to return result. We can also increase our I value at last here by doing I plus plus, and we don't have to do I plus plus here. Okay, so we can do any of these two. You can do whatever you like. Okay, so we will be returning result into sign. If the sign is negative, then we will be returning result negative value, otherwise we will be returning positive value. So let's go to compiler and write the code for same. Okay, so first we have to check length of the string as dot length, as we had discussed earlier, and initialize I with 0. We will be running our while loop to check white spaces, so I will be lesser than n, we have to take care of that, and then s dot char at I should be equal to white space. Okay, in this case simply do I plus plus, and now we will check if I equal to n, that means we are till the last index, so we don't have to do any calculation and return simply 0 value. Okay, now initialize a long result equal to 0, and now we have to check this our sign value. Int sign is going to be 0 for now, and if s dot char at, sorry, our sign is going to be 1, so that if it we will multiply at last, it don't to going to be equal to 0. So if s dot char at I equals to either plus or s dot, let me, okay, s dot char at I is going to be minus. So in this case we will be assigning sign equal to if s dot char at I equals to minus, then we will be assigning -1, otherwise we will assign 1. Okay, so we have checked our sign value, and now we have to convert our integer value, convert our string into integer. So for that we will be looping through all the characters and till the value of I is lesser than end, and we'll check is current character is digit or not. We will found that our current character is not digit. We don't have to iterate. Okay, so we'll be getting out of the while loop. So if it is not digit, for that case we will be checking whether current character is digit or not, and if it is true, only then we will be getting our current value as dot char at I minus 0. Okay, now we will be calculating result equal to result into 10 plus our current value. As we have used the long value for storing result, if the result is getting larger than integer value, we will be able to store that, and we can check simply here if result is greater than integer dot max. We will be returning if sign equals to -1, then we are going to return integer dot mean value. Otherwise we will be returning integer dot max value. Okay, so and we have to change our we have to okay do I plus plus here and same here, and at last we will be returning result into sign. Okay, let's run this. Hope there will no any error. Okay, so there is an error at line number 14. It should be char at. Okay, now we have to convert our long into long value into integer. So for that we'll be doing something like this. Okay, so first test case has been passed. Let's check remaining two others. Okay, all the given three test cases has been passed. Let's submit this. Yeah, so our solution has been accepted. I hope you must have learned something from this video. In this case, please make sure to like the video, subscribe the channel, and thank you.